Welcome to Honest Deck Reviews. I'm Carly, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through the animated and delightful Star Spinner Tarot from Trungles. We're going to talk about the background of the creator, my favorite cards, and evaluate the deck based on a few standard categories to help you decide if this is the deck for you. Stay tuned. Star Spinner Tarot is created by the artist Trungles and published by Chronicle Books. It came out in March of 2020. Trungles is the pen name of Trung Le Nguyen, a Philippines-born Vietnamese-American comic book artist and illustrator. His work explores themes of diaspora, as well as LGBTQ+ themes and the role of fairy tales in popular imagination. His stories are inspired by folklore and fairy tales, which you can see really clearly in these cards. The illustrations are colorful, youthful, and fun. They feature motifs of dragons, rabbits, fairies, and mermaids. There are some unique features here. For instance, the suit of chalices, which you'll recognize as the suit of cups, roughly follows the story of Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid. The suit centers mermaids as the main character, and the cards feature themes of longing, desire, sacrifice, and fulfillment. The suit of coins, which you may know as pentacles, have motifs of rabbits. Rabbits symbolize good luck and proliferation. The only rabbit featured in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck was in the Queen of Pentacles, so I love seeing this little creature getting the spotlight for the whole suit. On the suit of wands, fairies guide the imagery. They represent the twilight space between inspiration and action. I love that. The suit of swords maintains traditional tarot imagery, so there's nothing too unique or different there. What sets this deck apart from any others is that it features 3 lovers cards. There are 3 different pairings of lovers, and this increases the romantic representation in the deck. You, the reader, choose which best represents your ideal relationship, and you keep that card in the deck for your readings. Personally, since this is such a unique facet, I like to keep all 3 of the cards in the deck, and I apply a different nuance about relationships to each one of those. Another major plus for me is the awareness of how Orientalism has impacted tarot imagery over the centuries. Trungles says, "The star spinner is meant to evoke iconography that is less deeply rooted in that esoteric visual language and challenge the imperialist trappings of that time." I commend Trungles for addressing this, and I hope future deck creators and readers will keep it going. The box is beautiful. This is my favorite design of a tarot box. It's compact, yet lovely to display. It's sturdy enough to protect your cards for years to come, and best of all, when it closes, you have that satisfying magnetic snap. The booklet is 125 pages long. It includes 2 great sample spreads and excellent information about tarot. And on a final note, please purchase this deck directly from a reputable bookshop or the artist, because unauthorized copies have been floating around places like eBay, Etsy, and Amazon. Do yourself a favor and get the real version. I'll pin a link below in the description where you can buy an authentic deck. Let's check out our big 3. I love this 3 of Cups. The embrace of the mermaids looks so warm and enchanting. See how their tails layer on one another? Charming. The elegance, flow, and sweetness of this card encapsulate the 3 of Cups vibe perfectly. Our next card is the Star. The Star is usually my favorite card in a tarot deck, but in this deck, it's just okay. I don't feel the zing of energy I typically see when I look at her. I don't feel a sense of peace or tranquility. I don't want to jump into that card and experience the world with her. This is a pretty card, but for me, it's not a standout card from this deck. Our third card is Death. The depiction of death highlights the theme of rebirth. I often use butterflies to explain the meaning of the card, so their inclusion here is excellent. I love the constellation in the woman's cloak, and the gentle delivery of this card makes this a good deck for people going through a hard time who are looking for some support from tarot. My highlight card is the 9 of Swords. This card is known as the Card of Sleepless Nights by tarot readers. In this image, it's captured well. There's a little devil sitting on the chest of a person trying to sleep. Perhaps this person is tormented by a nightmare or intrusive thoughts. Either way, This illustration honors the traditional meaning of the card, yet it speaks with its own very relatable voice. Let's have a peek at our 5 categories to see if this is the deck you've been waiting for. Is it queer friendly? Hell yes. LGBTQ inclusivity of this deck is spectacular. Where else can you get a choose your own adventure with the lovers cards? Is it racially diverse? Yes. Images include representation across cultures. The themes integrate Asian characters with European fairy tales. And it actively fights against traditional Orientalist depictions. Are people with disabilities represented? Not that I could see. If you're looking for disability inclusion, you may not be satisfied with this deck. Are there a diverse range of body shapes? Yes. Most of the characters are slim and young, but we do have some fuller figured characters, which is refreshing. Is there a balance and range of gender representation? Absolutely yes. There's a great balance of men and women in the cards, a variance of gender expression, and plenty of fantasy creatures that can be anything you want them to be. Let's compare this to a traditional deck that serves as a nice tarot template. How close are the images to the Rider-Waite-Smith? I'd give it a 2 out of 5. And that's not a bad thing. Remember, the artist wanted the cards to be different. As we mentioned earlier, Trungles intentionally changed iconography in the deck to steer the cards out of imperialist-influenced images. That said, few readers would be able to interpret a meaning of a card from this deck without going to the book for context because of the style of artwork. I wouldn't recommend this deck for beginners. Instead, this would be a good 3rd or 4th deck purchase for somebody wishing to expand their collection. How close are the meanings to the Rider-Waite-Smith? 5 out of 5. The original meanings of the cards are maintained, and the author expresses this in fresh new ways. How harsh versus gentle is the tone of this deck? On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being very harsh and 5 being very gentle, I would give this a 4. Other than some of the sword cards, it's a very gentle deck, which can be incredibly helpful for some people. For instance, if you're reading for yourself and you've been feeling depressed or anxious lately, then this deck is nice washed and it can help you feel more supported by your reading. Does the creator have experience with the subject matter? Yes. Trungles takes accountability for any changes made in the depictions of the cards, and he has included elements from his own life and upbringing. Would I use this deck? Oh yes. I reach for it when I need something light and playful. Every tarot deck has a voice, and I imagine this one's to be like the little sister I never had. It's always a great mood boost and offers new ideas when I need them. There are some cards I don't personally connect to, like the moon, but maybe I just haven't seen it in the right light yet. No pun intended. One other criticism I have is I don't see the full range of emotions tarot typically offers across the deck. For instance, I love the story that's told in the Suit of Cups, but there is an overabundance of melancholy cards there. It starts to feel a little bit repetitive to me. Lastly, each artist uses different design components to communicate meaning. Pamela Colman Smith used the horizon line as a dimension to express time. Star Spinner Tarot doesn't use that depth of field the way Pamela Colman Smith did. So I, as the reader, lose one aspect of interpretation. Let's talk about the feel of the cards. The card size is standard, and the cardstock hits the Goldilocks zone for me. It's not too stiff, not too flimsy, it's just right. The colors are cheerful and well mixed. The gloss is matte, so when you're taking a picture of the cards, it's easy to see everything, but they still slide across each other easily, and they're less likely to get stained. The card backs are like a fairy tale art deco. You can't tell the top from the bottom, which is wonderful if you're using reversals in your spread. Who would like this deck? I would recommend this deck for the open-minded reader. It's not laden with traditional occult imagery, but it is certainly fun for modern interpreters. This deck would appeal to a reader moved by anime and graphic design. I would also recommend this deck to anyone who is already familiar with the Rider-Waite-Smith. And if you're looking to diversify your collection, you'll enjoy having this deck in it. If you would like to purchase this deck, visit the description box below and click the link. If you found this video helpful and if you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel for more deck reviews like these. Happy reading!